how are you all? So this video is going to be in response to the allegations posted by Sarah Stephanie last week about the organization of Nithyananda, and also there have been many such claims against Swami Nithyananda for the past several years. So we are not going to go into the allegations in this video. Instead, we are going to address certain questions asked by Sarah Stephanie and also Aarthi Rao, who also alleged Swami of raping her around 50 times. So both of them, when they were asked why they got interested in Swamiji in the beginning, so they came up with one answer. So that is what we are going to address now. Aarthi Rao said that since she is from a Hindu Brahmin family, she was more interested in doing spiritual service, and she wanted to attain Jivan Mukti, and she was ready to do anything for attaining Jivan Mukti, which is the purpose of everybody's life. So she says that Swamiji brainwashed her that having physical relationship is one way of attaining Jivan Mukti. So that's how the story goes. And in the recent allegation by Sister Sarah Stephanie is that there have been some physical abuses, like people beating children. Though she wants to put it in a negative light, the core matter of that is they wake children up by beating. That's what she wanted to say. Okay, so she couldn't tolerate that, but well, for a Westerner, maybe it would appear something of cruelty. But in India, in almost all school hostels, they will do that. They won't beat, but maybe they will do that if they don't wake up on time. But the way she said that they will make some senior girl to come with a stick and beat the children up, I don't know if it actually happened or not, but she said that's the reason she came out of the organization. Then she started saying some other reasons that back up with her idea of leaving the organization. And I was really amused by the responses to that video by many Westerners who had excellent spiritual experience from Nithyananda. They were just saying those allegations were false, but they responded in a non-hurtful manner. So that's something we should focus on. So among that, there is this divine sister called Prasida. Her video was really amazing. It was really enlightening. So she spoke from her bottom of the heart. So on saying that, you could easily see that she wasn't brainwashed. She was quite normal, and she was saying that all out of love. So, and now coming back to Sarah Stephanie, when she was asked why she got attracted to Nithyananda in the first place, she said that it was the supernatural powers that he possessed and his disciples possessed that made her getting attracted towards that organization. So she says that opening the third eye and being able to scan somebody's body of any disease, and after blindfolding able to read something that is presented in front of them, they were all false, because the kids who were doing that itself revealed that to her. And so that's how the story goes. So she couldn't stand that, because she was attracted to that organization solely because of that supernatural power. And this divine sister Aarthi Rao, she said she was attracted towards that organization because she believed that she could attain Jivan Mukti by serving there. That's why she joined initially, she and her family members. And after answering these two questions, these two clarifications, I also wanted to address some of the other things Divine Sister Prasida asked in her video. So I was really deeply moved by her video because she was out and out positive. That was really heartwarming. It was really nice. If the world is filled with such people, then this world would be heaven. But unfortunately it cannot be. It is not possible, especially in this Kali Yuga, because as Prasida has ended her video by saying that Kali Yuga is the time where ignorance and arrogance will be deeply rewarded and people will be moving away from the truth, and that's true. So not everybody can become Prasida, but they will very soon. You know why? Because Kali Yuga is going to end very soon, within 2 decades. So I will come to that later, and let's first address the Jivan Mukti as mentioned by Divine Sister Aarthi Rao. So the one thing is Jivan. Okay, before addressing that, I have to address something else, because this video should no way hurt anybody. It shouldn't hurt the organization and its leader Nithyananda, or the people who are accusing him. So, or else this would also be turning into one of the negative videos that's out there already. So for that, I think it's better to address the reason why Sarah Stephanie got attracted to Nithyananda. So she says that she's very interested in those powers, supernatural powers. So to answer that, if that's possible, if that's really possible, because the world is filled with non-believers now. So if you want to not believe anything, you can always find thousands of reasons for that. But to believe that, well, it takes really a long time. So if you have faith very strongly, what will happen out of that is even the false will turn to true. That's the magic of having faith. That's why Jesus Christ has told that if you have very minute amount of faith, that faith itself is enough to turn down the huge mountain. So is that true? Yes, that's true. And this divine sister Prasida, she has revealed that she herself has done miracles. She has experienced miracles. She has seen the sandalwood powder coming out of her own skin. So that could not be lie, that could not be false. That's what she says. And this was previously demonstrated by many sages of India, like Sati Sai Baba, Shirdi Sai Baba, and many. Even Jesus Christ, he created miracles. Okay, but one thing we should understand is, are these miracles really true? The answer is okay, it could be true, but we can't say everybody is doing it truly, because there might be someone who is doing that as a trick to trick people into getting money, into making them into donating money for their organization. That is absolutely possible. But if this miracle itself is false, no, It is true, it happens. Because Shirdi Sai Baba, he passed away long back, but still his photos are producing those divine powder that we call here as, we used to wear it in the forehead. So it's been producing more and more powders that just emerges out of nowhere, out of that photograph. So there cannot be any motive, because he is in a village, the photo is there. One day he was seeing that and he was calling the neighbors, then the news starts spreading. And this happens quite a lot in India. And also you can see videos on Sai Baba, Satya Sai Baba. Many of his devotees from Western countries, they give testimony that he appeared on their dreams and he asked them to come to India. That's how they become his devotees. So was that true? Well, that's true as well. That can happen too. But you should understand one thing. This is actually the God's message. But you can't understand this message. That's the problem. Because even I happened to listen to a sister saying that I appeared on her dream some 5 years back. So I was wearing white shirt and I was actually some 8, because I'm in this knowledge for around 6 years. So it was 2 years before that. That means 8 years before. She had a dream where I came in white shirt. So I listened to this from 2 or 3 sisters. So what does it mean? Does it mean I'm a god? No, I'm not God. I'm like any ordinary being. Similarly, these people, Satya Sai Baba, Shirdi Sai Baba, Raghavendra, Swami Vivekananda, so they appear in their dream, but they have no knowledge, because I had no knowledge about that I would appear in their dreams, because I was an complete atheist back then. I didn't believe in any god. I would just make atheistic comments all the time. But even at that time, my image appeared in their dreams. If you know the actual answer for why it happened, you would know how Swami Satya Sai Baba, Shirdi Sai Baba and many others appear in their devotees' dreams when they were alive. Not only in dreams, sometimes people will even have visions, especially when they do intense meditation. So some people, they will perform intense devotion, they will sit to do intense meditation without taking food and water for days in a row. So they were in immense thirst of having visions, so that they feel like they have seen the actual God. But before that, they might have some image on their mind. They want someone to appear in the dress that they had in the mind, like orange colored dress or white colored dress, something like that. Sometimes they would meditate very strongly to have specific image like God Shiva or Lord Krishna and so on, and they will get it. If they perform intense meditation or intense devotion, they will definitely get that vision. And likewise, even Christians, they do get visions of Jesus Christ, sometimes Virgin Mary and so on. So these things happen. What does that mean? Because Jesus is no more, but still they get visions of him, and they get visions of God Shiva, and nobody knows when he was here or whether or not he was here at all. but still they do have visions. But the visions will match the exact image they see daily in temples or in photos. That's how it looks. So it's been more than 2000 years since Jesus Christ was Christ-centered in a cross. So if there were no visions at all, people would lose faith in God totally. Then this world would be, it would have got destroyed long back. So to make this world to persist a little longer, such visions happen. So it's as per the order of God. But the message that it delivers is something different from what we normally interpret, because we think who appeared in that vision to be God, but the actual fact is it is not God. God just satisfies your thirst. It's more like people just toss the coin, or they will write two options and they'll just twist it in front of God, so that they can pick up one option after remembering God, so that they will tend to think that it is the order of God to follow this option. So it's more like that. That's why they get these visions, because if somebody wants to prove to himself that God Shiva is actually the God, and if they want to get answer through meditation, they will see God Shiva in front of them. Not only God Shiva, if they think if they think Ramakrishna Paramahamsa to be God, if they want confirmation and they say to meditate to confirm it, they will have the vision of Ramakrishna. Similarly, Ramakrishna himself had visions of Kali. So this would happen. But one thing that we need to take care of is not everybody is getting the same vision. So does it mean there are so many gods, and so many gods are having their own power and they are playing it with their devotees? No, it's not true. God is just one. So as I mentioned earlier, it is just to satisfy your spiritual thirst, but still it doesn't mean who appeared in their vision is God. So the reason those visions happen is the people should believe that there is a superpower. So one day they will meet him. Till that, they should live with this faith, because that was not the time for God to come, because God will come only in the end, as per Hindu and Christian faith. So in Christianity, they believe the second coming of Jesus Christ. In Hinduism, they believe the coming of Sri Krishna as Kalki Avatar. But is that going to happen? Well, God is going to come, but that's not going to be Sri Krishna or Jesus Christ, because they are not gods. So for people who believe Krishna to be God, they think Krishna will be coming in the end. For those who believe Jesus as God, they think Jesus is going to come in the end. But what's going to happen in the end is the arrival of God himself, because it is only him who hasn't come to earth so far. So he comes only once. So how can we differentiate? What's the change that he can create that no others in the past, like Jesus Christ or Muhammad or Buddha, has not created, or they could not create? Well, it is true that Jesus Christ and some others, they gave some teachings, but what happened as a result of that? Has the world changed for the better? No, it has changed for the worse. So it keeps changing worse and worse and worse day by day. So their arrival did not make any difference into the world, but God's arrival is going to change the world not for the better, but to its best. Yes, the Yug itself is going to change. Kali Yuga itself is going to be changed to Satyug, which is the time for the divine beings to exist in this planet Earth. No matter how great the teachings of Jesus Christ, Buddha, Muhammad are, still they were just a drop of the actual knowledge given by God. So God himself comes to give his entire knowledge to mankind and make them enter Satyug, which is called the golden age, which is also called heaven. Yes, people think that heaven is out there somewhere. No, it was not out there. This India itself was heaven 5,000 years back. It continued to be heaven for the first 2,500 years. After that, the same world has become hell. So we ourselves were living in heaven in the beginning. So we were called deities, and it is those deities Hindus worship nowadays, thinking that deities were God, deities were not God. We were deities. So after taking several rebirths, after 2,500 years, we enter hell, because this world itself has changed to hell. And there we start developing negative emotions like lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego, because of which we start suffer. So intuitionally we start seeking God. So, and we started writing scriptures, we started creating religions, but despite that, the pain that we get out of these 5 negative vices like lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego, they did not decrease. Instead, they increase. So it keeps on increasing till the end of Kali Yuga. So in the last 100 years of Kali Yuga, God himself comes. From where? From here. So this is the place called Supreme Abode. This is called Parandam, Parlog, so many names by many religions. This is where God always dwells. This will be orange colored light world. There wouldn't be sun or moon or stars, nothing. It would stay the same way all the time. So it is where God dwells as a point of light. He is a very tiny point of light. So this contradicts with the widely believed belief that God is omnipresent, God is very big. No, it's not so. God is very tiny, which is why we couldn't see him. Nobody could see him. Not only God, nobody can see even us. They can only see the body which we have taken. So it means we are the soul that operates this body and not this body as such. We souls also exist as a tiny point of light in between the eyebrows. God himself is also a soul. The only difference between the soul and God is we take birth after birth. That means we enter a mother's womb and come out as a child and grow up, and after completing that life we die and take rebirth. But God doesn't take birth out of a mother's womb. Instead, in the end, he directly enters a man's body. He names him Brahma. So through Brahma's mouth, he starts giving his true knowledge. So this is the only knowledge that will take you to heaven, and that is why God comes just before the creation of heaven. Because In contrast to what Bible says, God doesn't give teachings in heaven. In Bible they say God created heaven, then created Adam, then he gives teachings, you should do this, you should not do this, like that. No, actually God doesn't come to heaven at all. So souls are actually imperishable. So that's the core of the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, right? Souls can never be destroyed. It cannot be burnt in fire. It cannot be moistened by water. It cannot be beaten because it's so tiny. It's imperishable. It always exists. So this heaven is going to be inhabited by divine beings, but they were once the inhabitants of hell. So they are not going to come out of nowhere. They are not going to come from up above. So they were here in hell, in Kali Yuga. So God gives this teaching to purify us. So the more you follow his teachings and purify ourselves, more is the chance for us to take birth in heaven. But before that, of course, this world will be destroyed. That is why people are planning to conduct the Third World War, and also the natural calamities. They are going to add to the world destruction, because this hell has to be renewed. So the world destruction is nothing but the renewal process. So during that time, all souls will leave their old bodies that they have taken in this old world called Kali Yuga, and they would be leaving back to its home called the soul world, or the supreme abode, or Parandam or Paralog, where God resides all the time. So from there, the souls that was eligible to enter heaven, they would come here, or else they would stay there for a while. Once this heaven becomes hell after the completion of 2500 years, only then they will start taking birth here on earth. Till then it will be there. So what should we do? Because this is the direct teaching of God. It will not be in the story form like in the scriptures of all religions. So it will say directly, you should do this to enter heaven. What is that? See, in heaven there were no vices like lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego. That is why we pray them now, because they had this enormous ability of making anything happen. Anything they think, that will happen in that very instant. For example, they can make it rain, they can make it stop, just by the power of their thoughts. They had that power of their thoughts purely because they didn't have these vices with them. They were not even aware of what lust is, what anger is, what greed is, what attachment is, what ego is. To say, they were just like a child. Even the adults will be like a child in mind. That is why Jesus Christ says that if you don't become like a child, there is no way you can enter heaven. So that is what it actually means. But how is that possible? How is it possible for someone to become like a child who doesn't have any knowledge of lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego? Because in Kali Yuga, people are filled with these vices, and that is why they are called impure. So they have to purify themselves. Only if they forget completely what these five vices are, only then they are eligible to enter heaven. Because whatever a soul's capacity is right before its death, that characteristic is what it's going to possess in the next birth. So the heaven, especially in the beginning, it's going to be filled with ultra pure souls. So only those who are able to become ultra pure in their previous birth, that is in Kali Yuga, only then they will be able to take birth in heaven in its beginning itself. If it's not so pure, but pure to only some extent, then they will enter earth only in the middle of this cycle, not in the beginning, because only if you take birth right in the beginning, only then you can enjoy the heaven right from its beginning. What is there in heaven to enjoy? So it will be filled with golden buildings, and it will be filled with first class human beings with divine characters, filled with love, filled with the happiness. Even animals, they don't fight with each other, they don't kill each other for food. So there's no need to mention about the humans, right? Because even tiger and lamb, they will take water in the same pond in the same time. So that was even mentioned in Bible. So it used to be so in the beginning while it was heaven. That is why it was called heaven. And more than that, they will have intense pleasure coming out of them. Nowadays we seek pleasure from outside, but there the pleasure is within themselves. How? Because they had this awareness that they are souls and not this perishable body. That is how they get those powers. Because the soul, the nature of the soul itself is peace and blissfulness. Because we get addicted to the five vices, especially lust, we lost that power. So now God himself comes and teaches us how to regain that power, because everybody of every religion, including the religious leaders, they have all lost their power. That is why we see all spiritual gurus, all religious gurus, they all fall for lust, thereby degrading their names as well as the names of the religions they belong to. That will definitely happen before the destruction of the world. That's when people think they cannot be true. They cannot be true teachings of God, because it is impossible for them to follow the teachings of their religious texts. So that's when people turn their eyes towards the real God, who's been teaching for the past 82 years through all Rajayogi meditation centers, totally free of cost. It's totally free for the poor, for the middle class, for the rich, for everybody. Classes will be conducted daily, totally free of cost. Absolutely new classes daily. Who teaches? God himself directly teaches through Brahma. He's an old man. So through him, God teaches, gives these teachings. What will happen? You will see your character changing significantly within a month. There won't be any miracles like sprinkling the holy paste, sandal paste. No one will blindfold you and make you to do some magic like reading something, scanning disease. No, not that sort. If you want that, you can go to many magicians, or there are many out there, you know it, right? But God doesn't teach you to become a magician, because God himself is a magician. You know what magic he performs? He converts the sinful souls into pure divine angels. Do you think there could be any magic that is better than this? That is greater than this? So this is the only magic God is responsible for. God comes here to teach you how to develop divine characters, so that you become a part of divine beings that's going to inhabit heaven. That's going to happen within 2 decades. There's not much time left. So there's also another reason why people have visions of Satya Sai Baba, Swami Vivekananda, Nithyananda, and so on, is God first wants you to focus that something is happening in India. Because you know, when it comes to spirituality, everybody's eyes turn to India, because there's something in India, but they don't know where they get the truth. So they fall for spiritual gurus. So they are doing nothing but reciting the religious scriptures that was already written. It's been there for 2500 years. They're not giving anything on their own. But God doesn't need any religious scriptures. See, whole of the God's knowledge I'm able to give it to you with this single photograph. So you can go to any spiritual guru and ask this. They cannot say this because it is not in any religious scriptures, because God himself comes to teach this. God doesn't come to teach what was already written in Bhagavad Gita or what was already written in Bible or Quran. If it were already there, then there's no need for God to come, right? And the core of his teachings is to make yourself pure. You have to keep on remembering God. But nobody knows how God looks like, which is why people fall prey to other human beings who perform some kind of magic. So, only now we know that God is also a point of light, just like we souls are. There's no difference in appearance between souls and the Supreme Soul, God. And this God is called Shiva, God Shiva by Hindus. He is the same God who is called the Heavenly Father, whom Jesus Christ referred to as Father. And this is the same God Muslims call as Allah. So God is just one. He comes only once. So this happens every 5,000 years once. He always, because it's a 5,000 year time cycle. And there's also another significance about this cycle. Whatever happens in one kalpa, this 5,000 year time cycle is called a kalpa. Whatever happens in one kalpa, that keeps repeating kalpa after kalpa. So it exactly repeats identically to its previous kalpa. For example, if you are watching this video right now, it obviously means you watched this video at the same time, same day, same year, 5,000 years back. It was so accurate. So all we need to do is, we have to first consider ourselves to be the imperishable soul and not this perishable body. Because we think of ourselves as the body, we start committing sins. Sins are nothing but these 5 vices, and start accumulating pain, birth after birth. So to wash away our sins, there's only one way, and that is to consider ourselves to be this imperishable soul, and remember God also as a point of light that shines like a tiny star in the golden red colored sky, because this Parandam is a golden red colored light world or orange colored light world, which is why Hindus has the habit of wearing orange colored robes. So now coming to addressing the spiritual thirst of Divine Sister Aarthi Rao, she said that she went to Nithyananda's ashram just to attain Jivan Mukti. So the reason she and many others joined many other Hindu organizations is because to achieve this Jivan Mukti, but without the knowledge of what Jivan Mukti actually stands for. Before that, we need to know what Mukti is. Is that attainable? Mukti means liberation. Liberation from what? Liberation from this body. So it means, in Hinduism they believe, which happens to be true, that we tend to take rebirth. Yes, we do take rebirth. So people, on seeing this suffering, they don't want to take birth again, which is why they want to attain mukti, which means going back to God. But they don't think so. They think that they will be dissolved with God. They'll become one with God. Is that possible? No, it's not possible. If that's possible, then Bhagavad Gita would be false, because in Bhagavad Gita they say soul is imperishable. So how can it merge into God? He is also a soul. So we cannot merge into God, but we can have divine characters of God through his teachings. That's it. So mukti happens only in the end. So no matter how much reverence people like Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, Raghavendra, Siradi Sai Baba, Valalar, and so on, so they may have been worshipped by people like anything equal to God, but they are not God. Not only that, they did not attain mukti. So soon after they leave their body, they take another birth. They enter another mother's womb to start afresh. So that's the truth, because nobody knows how to go there until God comes. If it were true, the population would be reducing. Instead, it keeps on increasing. You know why? Because not all souls come right in the beginning. They come here depending on the strength they acquired from the previous birth. So if they have more strength, they will take birth in the beginning. If they have lesser, it will take afterwards. Or sometimes souls come even in the Kali Yuga or towards the end of Kali Yuga, and they just take 1 or 2 births. That's it. So this will happen. So what happens is, once we start taking birth in earth, we will definitely have to enter this birth and death cycle, which means we will have to take birth after birth. There's no way back home. This is our home of souls. So we will have to act in this world drama till the destruction of Kali Yuga. Only then we can go back to our home. So souls that came, they didn't go back. Moreover, the souls from the soul world, they keep on adding gradually. That is why the world population keep on increasing instead of decreasing, or instead of being constant. So they keep on increasing because souls get added gradually. That is why it happens so. So nobody attained mukti so far. And mukti, for mukti, we need not do much effort. We need not make any spiritual effort to attain mukti, because we all have to attain mukti, which means we all have to escape from hell. Only then this will be renewed into heaven, so that the divine beings who accumulated strength or spiritual power from their previous birth will come to inhabit and enjoy the pleasures of heaven. So mukti refers to liberation of the soul from this body. And what is Jivan Mukti, as mentioned by Divine Sister Aarthi? Jivan Mukti means liberation of soul from the body is mukti, and liberation of the soul while it is within this body. That is, it experiences as if it is out of this body, though it is within the body. That is what is called Jivan Mukti. That happens only in heaven. Because when you are totally pure, which means you have no slightest thought of lust, anger, greed, attachment, which means you don't have the slightest amount of body consciousness. When you are totally soul conscious, then you can't be inside this body. That is when you leave this body on your own. So that is when you go there. That happens towards the end of the world. So everybody will live like that if they have taken this Rajayogi education, or else only if they have practiced enough, only then they can go, or else they would have to endure several punishments to wash off their sins of their previous births. Only then they will go. Either way, they will have to become pure. So if you are intelligent, you will become pure by meditating on God as a point of light, or else you will have to suffer a lot through punishment through birth. So we will cover punishment in a separate video. So after punishment only we will get pure and you will go there. But if you become pure by getting punishment, you will not be eligible to enter heaven because you don't have that power. So you will be staying there till the world becomes old enough to be called hell. Only then you will start taking birth and you will just suffer the sufferings of hell, and you will not enjoy the pleasure of heaven kalpa after kalpa. So that itself is a curse, right? So this is the simplest of all yogas out there, and this is the most advanced yoga. That is, we have to consider yourself as a point of light, the soul that exists between the eyebrows, and we have to connect our mind to our Heavenly Father, God Shiva, as a point of light who shines like a tiny star in the golden red colored sky. That's how we have to remember him as much as possible. What happens as a result is we will have some trembling sensation in between the eyebrows, which means we are receiving power directly from God. And we will see that lust, anger, greed, attachment and all other vices, they just get removed from us. How can you attain Jivan Mukti? By going to a man who doesn't know God himself, because no man is aware of how God looks like. So it applies to everybody, all spiritual gurus, all spiritual preachers, including Jesus Christ, Buddha and Muhammad. Nobody knows about how God looks like, because God did not send any of them. They came on their own, because that's how this world drama is programmed. It all happens on its own. God's role in this drama is to come in the end and give these true teachings, which is going to make the Kali Yuga sinners into the spiritual Satyug divine beings, heavenly beings. We can also call them as angels. So that's what God does. That's the only role of God. Just because we do not know what God's role is or how he looks like, that we fall prey to other humans if they start performing any miracles. So miracles happen out of two reasons. One, if it is a pure soul, then it might create some miracles. For example, people think Jesus Christ is a single man. No, Jesus is a separate man. Christ is a separate soul that comes directly from God, and it enters Jesus in his 30 years of age, and it starts giving teaching in addition to some miracles. So only if they see miracles they will have faith. That's why it is there in this drama. But it doesn't mean they are gods, because recently one brother called me and said that one of his relations is performing miracles without doing any effort. He even drinks, smokes, and he has all the bad habits on earth, but still he is able to create those divine ashes from his fingers right in front of them. Even while drinking, it is possible. So can anybody on earth calls him God? No, right? So it happens because they might have performed intense devotion in their previous births to achieve this goal. We call it as Siddhi. So some wants to produce only those ashes, some wants to produce shivling from their mouth or diamond from their mouth. So like that they'll be doing devotion birth after birth, but it wouldn't happen in that birth. But after several births, depending on the amount of devotion, at one point they'll have that siddhi, even if he did not perform any devotion in that birth, like this particular guy I mentioned. So this is how Sati Sai Baba possessed that power, Shirdi Sai Baba possessed that power. So these followers of Nithyananda possess the power of reading blindfolded and so on. So this is one of the possibilities. I'm not saying this is how they do it. I'm not saying whether they are doing it genuinely or there is some trick or so on. I'm not commenting, but what I'm saying is it is possible. That's it. And another thing is, some pure soul will enter one already existing soul, and it will perform miracles because it has that power since it was pure. So that is what happened in Jesus. Christ is the name of the pure soul that comes from God and enters Jesus. So people call that as Holy Spirit. Of course the name is right. They refer soul as spirit, okay, whatever. So the soul enters him, that's it. God doesn't enter him, and God doesn't send that soul. So as per drama, it will come at that time. So it will do some miracles, and after that Christian souls. And also you have to know about this tree, inverted tree. So it is the tree of souls, which is why they have this Christmas tree filled with those star like lamps. So because souls shines like a star, right? So it is in the shape of an inverted tree. God looks like the root of the tree or the seed of the tree, because he has the whole knowledge about this tree, which is something he is giving us now. So this main stem is what the souls of heaven represent, or you can call them as deity souls. And this, there will be several branches, and one branch will be the Christianity. So Christ's soul will be in the beginning of that branch, and all the other souls will take birth only after the coming of Christ. So that happened 200 years back, right? So the reason why nobody supported Christ when he was facing several opposition from the people is because no Christians were on this planet when he came. So it is only after several hundred years they all come so that they become huge enough to form a religion. So this is the story of all religion. So that's how a pure soul called Buddha enters Gautam Siddhartha's body and start giving teachings which forms the core of the establishment of Buddhist religion. That's how all religions are established. Nonetheless, they are not gods, because God doesn't come to create a religion. God comes to establish heaven. That's why he comes in between the destruction of hell and the establishment of heaven. This last 100 years is called the confluence age or Sangam Yuga, because it's the confluence of heaven and hell. So all you have to do is to remember God as much as possible. That's it. He doesn't give you any other strain. Anybody can do it, even child can do it, right? It's just the matter of thinking. That's it. So the more you think, the more purer your mind, your intellect and your soul becomes. And there is also one particular incident where an American woman in front of Swami Nithyananda says that she was a strong devotee of Satya Sai Baba, and now Satya Sai Baba appeared in his dream and he asked her to go to Swami Nithyananda. And she says that she is feeling guilty of taking another guru instead of her old favorite guru Satya Sai Baba. So how that happens? So does God do all these things? So these things happen because of their thirst, because they don't want to believe Jesus Christ, because somehow they find that he is not God. But internally there is that intuition that truth is out there. It is not in the religion that they were born to, which was Christianity or Islam or Hindu or something. So they want to seek truth outside. So they start searching for spiritual truth in other religions. So when they are attracted by Hinduism, in Hinduism there is this belief that there should be some guru to attain God. You can't attain directly. So that's the same belief in all religion, right? Nobody knows Allah. They want to know Allah through Muhammad. So that's just the Hinduism. That's the replica of Hinduism. And you can enter heaven only through Jesus Christ. You can attain God only through Jesus Christ, because he is the messenger. That's what they think. So that's also a part of Hinduism, or Hinduism in a modern form. That's it. So they want to have guru. So since Sati Sai Baba is no more, so now they are getting the visions of Nithyananda, who is at present very famous in India. It doesn't mean he is God, or he is going to preach the divine truth that's going to take you to heaven. So I'm not saying Nithyananda is giving false teachings, because whatever he teaches exactly what is written in the religious scriptures. So I think he is best in delivering religious teachings. So whether or not the accusations on him is false or true, but despite that, the teachings that he gives is really genuine. Really, he is better than all other gurus in giving the teachings from the religious scriptures. Despite that, it is not true, because it is not the teachings of God, because God himself has come. But till you meet God, maybe you need somebody, which is why you are attracted towards these spiritual gurus. But God is out there waiting for you. God has been waiting for you. He has been performing miracles. They are just instruments, whether it's Jesus Christ, whether it's Sati Sai Baba or Nithyananda, they are just instruments. So God makes them, uses them to attract his children towards him. So it is available. God's you can learn directly from God if you happen to come to any Brahma Kumari's Rajayogi Meditation Center. It is totally free. It is there in all countries. You can Google it. You can Google Brahma Kumari's and your country name. Then you will get the address of the Brahma Kumari's Rajayogi Meditation Center in your country. So please go there. There is no human. It is God who gives the teaching. So they will read Murli, which is God's direct teaching. So if you want to know more, you can actually message me in WhatsApp in this number, or you can send SMS if you are from India to this number, +91 98 946 71743, so that I'll be guiding you with the address of the Brahma Kumari's Rajayogi Meditation Center in your country, in your area. Or else you can search yourself by googling it. So all religious gurus will be accused of something or the other, because that's how people will find all the religions to be the instruments of Satan or demon, and they will turn directly to God, because God is going to be here only for the next few years. So before that, we have to accumulate as much as possible, because in addition to thinking of him as a point of light, also we have to listen to his teachings directly, because here we are conquering all these 5 vices, especially the lust, which is the toughest to conquer, and which is what every religious gurus are falling. So we have to conquer that. Only then our soul will have the power to enter heaven, because heaven is the place where there is no lust. People will be very beautiful. If you have lust there, then you will make that into hell. So that's why he gives this teaching. He gives the power to conquer lust and come there, and it will be filled with palaces, filled with gold and diamonds. If you have jealousy and greed in your thought, and if you enter there, you will make it into hell. That's why he makes you come clean of these 5 vices. Only then you can enter heaven. Only God gives this teaching. After listening to his teaching, you will not like anybody's teaching, because that's the direct teaching of God. What you find in all religious scriptures is not even a drop of what God gives, because God is the ocean of knowledge. So this miracle where God himself comes to teach human beings happens only once in the entire 5,000-year time cycle. So please make use of it. I think I have answered the basic question of the miracles, the third eye. Okay, I'll come to third eye soon. So miracles, they happen just to make people have some faith till God comes. So that's why it's been happening for the past 2500 years. In heaven, everybody would be performing miracle, because everybody can make anything happen, because it's the land of deities, right? So we were deities in the beginning. And there is this third eye. I'll be creating a separate video for that, and here let me brief it. Third eye doesn't mean that your eye will be able to see something that is that cannot be visible when it's closed. No, it's not that. Third eye means the eye of knowledge. Yes, it means to read what these eyes can't read, even when it's open. So it need not be blindfolded. What is that? The third eye can see what these eyes cannot see. What is that? That is the soul. Because when we see a person, what appears to us is his or her face. So that is the number one reason people fall for lust, right? Whether it is the Christian saint or Hindu saint or Muslim preacher, everybody falls for lust, especially in this Kali Yuga, because everybody has lost the power of purity. So now, after getting this knowledge, we are practicing daily that we are not this body but as a point of light, and also we see others as a point of light. We practice this. So that cannot be visible through this eye, but through our intellect we consider them to be the soul, because we know for sure their eyes will see as long as the soul is present in this body. Their mouth can speak as long as the soul exists in that body. As soon as the soul leaves the body, the eyes cannot see on its own, the mouth cannot speak on its own, the mind cannot think on its own. So it is the soul that's been seeing through these eyes, that's been speaking through this mouth, that's been listening through these ears. It's performing everything with this body as the instrument. That's it. So that's the number one lesson God teaches us. So it is the soul. One is born into the poor family and the other is born into the rich family. Why? Because of their past karma. They might have sinned the most, because of which they are born into a very poor family. They may have performed many charities, because of which they are born into the rich family now. That's how it happens. But compared to the wealth we enjoyed in heaven, everybody in hell is poor. No matter if he comes the top 10 richest person on the world, he is still poor compared to what we possessed in heaven. And there used to be kingdom in heaven, because of which the kingdom continues throughout the hell until recent past, right? So the number one king or emperor was Sri Krishna, which is why in India during Ekadasi they celebrate opening of heaven ceremony in Lord Vishnu's temple, because he is the number one king of heaven. He is the first king of heaven. So he is not God, because he was a normal human being in hell, in Kali Yuga. So by imbibing the knowledge given directly by God, he practiced this meditation of considering himself to be soul and thinking of God as much as possible. He gained that power to enter heaven. So Sri Krishna is not God. God is one who gives the teaching that converts human beings into Sri Krishna or other deities. He is God, and that is God Shiva. He is only one. He is eagerly waiting for you. Third eye is the eye of knowledge and not the physical eyes. People misconsidering that to be another physical eye, they think something will happen here, some chakra will open here, or some magic they can perform, they can read it blindfolded. I'm not saying that is impossible. It is possible. If you think that is the only achievement of this spiritual progress, then that will happen, because God will satisfy your thirst. That's it. But you cannot gain anything. Your soul or spirit, it cannot become pure through that. So that is the real truth that I want to share with the world. So your love for a particular saint in India is actually the love for God. Just because you don't know who God is, you are drawn towards Jesus Christ or Satya Sai Baba or so and so. So God has been waiting for you for the past 82 years. Please don't make him wait any longer. Please come to God as soon as possible. So if you have any doubt, please leave the comment so that I will try to answer you in comment itself, or else I will create a separate video answering your queries. Thanks for watching. As I mentioned earlier, make sure to message me in this number +9198 946 71743. You can, so that I can give you the link to the YouTube video where there is a basic course of Rajayoga meditation, and after listening to that and understanding that, you can listen to God's Murli directly if there is no Brahma Kumari center in your area. So you can just Google Brahma Kumari's Murlis in your language, English Murli, Hindi Murli, whatever it is. So it is available in all languages. Shanti, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave your valuable comments if you like this video. Please hit on like and do subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the notification bell to get the updates about our upcoming videos, which is going to be as great as this video. Shanti. Thanks for watching again. And these magical things, they do happen. It doesn't mean who makes it happen is God. No, only God makes it through them. They are just an instrument. They may even be bad in characters. So I'm not saying whether they are good or bad. It doesn't matter, but it's not going to help you in any way in purifying your soul, because that is the ultimate aim, and we have to enjoy the heaven, because heaven is created by God, not this hell. So we made heaven into hell by falling into the hands of Satan, which is nothing but these 5 vices. So we have to conquer these vices. That is possible only by taking the direct knowledge of God and by remembering God, which is Rajayoga. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching again.